to come back on that point? We don't know enough to help you, or is this a different point?
No, I think that from the research policy, we know what we need to know to fund research. This question is more to the people doing the city planning or and so.
Okay, well, we're going to move on very quickly now to the whole area of the relationship between researchers and policymakers and what to do differently. Why is it that some ideas circulate in research policy and get picked up but others don't? If anyone's got experience of doing their own research and policymakers picking up on it and why, that would be very helpful. So I'll take 5 or 6 quick questions again. There's one just there.
My name is... Okay, my name is
Sorry,
Patricia.
just before you go on, I think it might facilitate it. I should have said this before. If you've got to address your question at 1 or 2 of the panelists, I think it would help.
Yeah. Don't worry. Okay, I have a comment. It's so difficult to the relation between science and policy making is so difficult because we are talking about knowledge on humans, and we are humans. So I see people, if a natural scientist tells you this is deforestation and this is deterioration of the environment, it is easier to deal with that than it is to deal with social issues. We are the object and the subject of what we are analyzing. And I see that we are not touching on that, and this is a very important point. We need to
very good
pay
point.
attention.
Can I take some more? I think you had your hand up before, so why don't you take mine?
Karen Cito, Yale University. I guess my question is about the aha moment in social science and human dimensions research. If we look at natural science and how natural science galvanizes around certain questions or problems, and I think it goes back to Jim's issue about money and community, natural science community galvanizes around things like high TC research, the Super Collider, the Human Genome Project. Things are millions, if not billions of dollars. And they have 2 very organized journal publications where media, news feeds, pick up on those. And everyone in this room knows what those 2 journals are. And the social science community doesn't have the similar type of publications. And I think that is a very critical issue. How often are there human dimensions research being published in those 2 journals?
Okay, another very good point. There's one over here.
Hello. Yes, hi. This is a question to Professor Klepper, who started your description of yourself as somebody who is making sure that research is of good enough quality. I would like to ask you what you define as good quality research, and also how far does your position as a very good economist affect how you might define what is good research? Thank you.
Okay, there's one just here.
I wanted to return to that question about what we know, and actually we've returned to this several times where people say, well, we never will know. We understand it's complex systems and the system will always be several steps ahead of us. However, social scientists and natural scientists know how to raise questions. And we also have a lot of experience in participatory processes. We've been for 3 decades trying to develop ways of raising questions together. And I think there's a lot of work in that area of just not giving the answers people need, but helping people raise the right questions and test them together.
Okay, thank you. There's one there, gentleman in the blue shirt. Yep.
I am Eduardo Viola from the University of Brasilia. I have a general question related to the need of differentiating in the relationship between science and policymakers. If, depending on how strong is the prestige of science in the society, and this is a lot related to the level of education of a society. So problems that emerge in developed countries, highly educated developing countries in which science is a lot integrated, particularly in the last 20, 30 years, are very different in, I don't speak about poor countries, but even middle-income countries in which the integration of science in society is much more difficult. So it's just, I would like some reflection about this differentiation.
Okay, thanks very much. Another one over there.
My name is Chris Bunting. I'd like to ask a linked question. The first one is, how can science deal with mundane issues where policymakers may need advice. And I'm going to give the example of solar panels. We're in a country that is installing solar panels at a great rate. I think 400,000 houses in Germany now have them. I was born in one country where you can't install a solar panel in a listed building because of heritage reasons. I now live in another where in my village you cannot install a solar panel because your house is visible from the chateau. Now, my question is, how can science provide knowledge that enables people to see through the policy conundrum of climate and local planning? Why is science stressing so much the risks of intermittency caused by solar panels when there's a much more mundane issue to deal with?
Okay, good question. Thank you. At the back, it's, you first, and then another one behind. I'm taking lots, I know, but we'll try and get through them as quickly as possible. In the black there.
One of the things that I find challenging, especially as we realize that complexity, increasing the level of complexity in our approaches to social science issues related to real problems, is that we have to entertain the possibility that there might not be any more easy buttons for policymakers and for policy making. Oftentimes, complex social, economic, environmental problems require very complex solutions. How we deal with that, where our approaches cannot fit in 30-second media grabs or 5 pages policy briefs.
Okay, thank you. The gentleman at the back in the tie.
Just 2 quick comments, maybe a suggestion that I'm not going to answer now, but for next meetings, that it would be nice to have not only European or first world type of discussions, but people also from Africa, Latin America, and other third world, because I'm sure, and we have a lot here, that the question that you are addressing, policy and science, in those countries are completely different agendas, and you have much more close relationship, because this is apparently is much more of your problem than our problem. But in the second comment that I wanted to make, so it would be nice to have more views. This is the first comment, not to be so old boys. And the second comment is old boys for, sorry, Kat, and old girls also.
I think there are 3 women.
Old boys and young girls, because Kate Brown is young girl, sorry. The second comment is, we tend to forget how environment came in the agenda. It didn't come because of science. So I think we are asking the wrong questions, whether we should have a robust answers or this or that. Environment came to the agenda thanks to social movements, not thanks to science results. And maybe once this became a scientific challenge, science did their homework. I think the community did their homework for the past 20 years, but now we became as elitist as the policymakers, and we only talk to the policymakers, and it never gets done. Shouldn't we go back and relate science, as somebody mentioned there, as a triad, not only science and policymakers, but it wouldn't hurt to talk to society. Thank you.
Okay, thanks very much. I think in defense of the organizer of this session, we were hoping that the Vice Minister for Science and Technology from China was going to come, and he did pull out at the last minute. I'm not sure whether he qualifies as an old boy or not, but at least there would have been more representation. I think we are running out of time, so I think we're going to have to try and be as sort of quick as we can. I failed miserably as a moderator because I was trying to see who was up next, so I haven't kept a mental list of the questions, but if somebody would like to volunteer an answer to at least one of them, that would be very helpful. Jim, why don't you start?